If you're offended, well, we do not apologise. If you can look at this with an open mind and not take life too seriously, then you may just come away well and truly entertained.
Never fear, Sean Begg is here, and today's guest is Iain Maclean. Now on to the show.
I feel like Caithness, man. During my early youth, I went all about the place. I've walked the entire coastline. I've pretty much went to every historical site. I've done my best to engage with what is here on offer, you know. Although I'm saying Caithness is a cultural black hole, I'm no means trying to run it down, you know.
No.
I'm totally proud to be from Caithness, but I got into this idea when you go on holiday, you know, and you go to meet someone, or you just met someone, and they're like, "Oh, hi, how's it going? Where are you from?" And they're like, "Oh, I'm from Worcestershire." And straight away, you're like, "Oh, hi, Worcestershire sauce," you know.
Yeah.
So then they end up saying to you, "Where are you from?" And you're like, "Oh, I'm from Caithness." And they're like, "Where's that?" And you're like, "Oh, you know where John O'Groats is?" Sometimes they're like, "No," and then you're like, "Right, well, you know where Land's End is?" And they're like, "Yeah," and it's the opposite end of that. I'm like, "Oh, right, yeah, John O'Groats, yeah." And then they're like, "Is it North Inverness?" And you're like, "Yeah, it's right at the very top." And then they still look a bit confused. So then you're like, "It's between Inverness and Orkney." And by the time you finished explaining all this, you just defined where you're from by where you're not from. And that is in some way, that's kind of a little bit embarrassing, you know?
Yeah.
So they're always looking for a thing to define you by, you know, a clear cultural identifier, you know?
Yeah.
So that always kind of got me, that we were kind of didn't have this inner monologue to easily explain where we're from, you know.
Yeah.
So obviously from that point on, I turned to ChatGPT to say, what are the clear signs of culture? List them, you know. So ChatGPT has come back with clear signs of culture are food, music, produce, art, famous people, folklore, landscape, rituals, technology, and language. So what I decided to do then is a bit of a social experiment, is to go through this list of clear cultural identifiers and try and find out where Caithness fits inside that list of what it is to be a culture here, you know.
The thing about like I was looking at old maps, and it's weird because you see London, like this is like all around the world, and then Wick
always on it,
and then that's mental for us. But in because it was a massive fishing port,
exactly, and certainly in the past, Caithness was far more important than it sees itself now, you know.
Yeah.
Particularly, we all know about the herring industry, and it was a real hive of activity. It just seems in the last 100 to 50 years or so, that's really started to screw down a bit, and it's becoming more difficult. I mean, I think in Scotland 50 years ago, if you said, "Oh, I'm from Wick," they would say, "Oh, that's where the fucking herring's coming in." You know? But as those things have turned down, we have less and less of this clear cultural sense of identity of who we are, you know.
Because you can definitely see it in the houses for a heyday of Wick was definitely Wick, because it's got that Peaky Blinder look about it. It's got some, like I don't know if it's just got
I always say that the buildings in Wick are far better than Thurso. I mean, it's had its social degradation over the years and all the rest of it, but if you look at the quality as a builder, the buildings in Wick are better than the buildings in Thurso. Like by far, like, you know, the quality of stonework and the quality of the way the buildings are put together, you know. You can see the money was on the Wick side, like.
But even like people that like buying the old buildings. I know we're just went off on a tangent now, but like I love the old buildings.
Yeah, me too. We're never. This whole podcast is now just going to be about
speaking about
me
stones.
talking about old buildings. Shit, my mates would be like, "That's all he fucking ever does."
No, I just find it weird because like his house is just round there, and they're old stone building, but they're cheap for what they are. And like, if you had that in Edinburgh,
totally. I was half thinking about buying one myself, you know. But I know how much effort goes into making an old stone building into a modern one. You know? But certainly as a shell, quality is definitely there. And like Carnegie Library, man, that's got to be up there with some of the most beautiful buildings in Caithness. Like, you know, it's lovely. It's an excellent building, like, and if you look at the price it's going for, you're like, wow.
I know. I hope a Life Art Centre buy that.
Totally. Bring Life Art Centre into the urban setting, and I think you'll see a lot more going on. You
know, because Life Art Centre is good, but it says that it's in between both places, and it's not easy to get to.
It's not very much. If you want a dram or you want to have a it's a pain in the hole. You know? I think they probably know it themselves. Like, you know? Life Art Centre is great, and stuff they put on there is cool and quirky. Like, but it needs to be brought into the somewhere more accessible. Totally. So yeah, that was it. What we're going to do then is we're going to go through the list that the Oracle, as ChatGPT has said, are clear cultural identifiers to see if we can work out. So let's just start with food, So let's just say you're walking down the street, you've bumped into some North Coast 500 tourists and they want to try the local cuisine. What is it that you tell them? Or put it another way, if you're in Arbroath and you're like, what do I eat here? What do you eat Arbroath smoky? It's pretty clear what the local delicacy is. So what is the local delicacy in Caithness?
I don't know. I can only pick out in the chippy sort of say. Well, I would say fish, but again, it's like you're saying about fish. Fish go down the order.
Yeah, we don't eat an awful lot of it. Not as much as what we should, right? Yeah. We don't have a special fish dish that everyone can identifies with, But definitely the chippy is a good one. Like,
chippy in every county's got a different style. I mean, like in Edinburgh it was salt and sauce.
That's right,
Glasgow was salt and vinegar, and then I say red pudding.
Red pudding.
Red pudding's the one up here.
We'll have to double check. It would be good if we had a third person that would just Google everything we've just said to make sure, But is red pudding Caithness only?
Probably
or is
not.
it, And then someone else said patty supper. I said, you better make sure you're saying patty with no T's in it. Patty supper, we're thinking is a Caithness thing, but someone else said, you'll get a patty supper in Aberdeen,
All right.
Maybe they call it something else,
Is there
when was the last time you had a patty supper, though? If that's meant to be our local delicacy, nobody's eating it.
I haven't had a patty supper since. I don't think I ever had one actually. To be honest with you, I heard it because I was at Castleton and seen it, but never had one.
Anybody who's watching this, get out there and get yourself a patty supper. Johnson's pie. Obviously, I'm going to say a Johnson's pie, and you're going to say a McDonald's pie.
Yeah, definitely.
But you can pretty much buy a pie in any Greggs, country up and down. So to bring it back to
what makes it different?
What makes it any different? Or you just met a German tourist and you're like, go and get a pie. He's going to think I could have got a pie anywhere up and down the country. What's so good about yours?
No, I think like I say to people, a star, because you didn't get a dinner road. A star and a cream
cookie. A bakery, or a dream ring. I don't know if you get a dream ring elsewhere, but
no, you did get a cream cookie anywhere. I don't think.
Cream cookie.
Means I think
that's a dream ring. We know. We
know.
Yeah, I don't care what it is, as long as it's Caithness only. You can say, look, this is our local dish. Get it in there, So basically, we can't seem to put our finger on any single food that we can say is definitely Caithness and something that's just recognisable, and that's okay. What we're hoping is that one of these things sticks, but at the moment, Caithness has got a food culture. There is some cool fucking restaurants out there, but it doesn't have an individual dish.
No.
And if there's anyone out there that's a culinary extrovert in some kind of way, then maybe it's time we identified something, even if it was a patty supper, and all said, get behind the patty supper, get it in, So food, score 0.
Right.
Music is the next one. B. Caithness got a fair music scene, like.
Definitely, I would say most people are musical up here.
I am as well. I play a lot of music.
But. Like I only found out last night, but I think everybody, most people I know, is either been in a band or they play a guitar or they play something. And that's the whole point of the podcast. I thought try to get them on.
That was definitely a thing when I was growing up. Like in high school, it was like you had battle of bands, and everybody basically wanted to be in a band. So even if you were a bit shit, you would kind of just try your hardest just to manage to get into a band, It was certainly, but when look at the culture at the time, it was like Oasis, Nirvana, the music scene was pushed towards musical instruments. So I said to my 17-year-old son the other day, about guitars and that, he says, guitars and that's just old folk shit, I was like, what? Guitars are old folk shit. When did that happen? Like,
No.
If you look at the charts, there's not been a band. Arctic Monkeys was the last band.
I was just about to say, I think it was a sort of indie scene with 2006. I think it was
pretty much died. So no wonder the young team were seeing guitars as old instruments, because there hasn't really been a band scene in a long time,
But you think that's just because like bands is money going to cost them moving. All right, we'll go and play down in Dingwall, and it's like cost a
it's a lifestyle. It's certainly not going to make you a fortune. Like, you're doing it for a passion.
Yeah.
But if you look at what they're doing, they're still playing tunes from back in the day, So it's a bit like a band that middle aged. Whole set is coming to bits here.
No, you're right. I think like what's changed with music is I mean when the iPod came out and it made people socially awkward, not socially awkward, but they used to go to house parties and be sitting on their iPod, and then but in the same way, what was quite good about that as well is like they would be people like me who's into rock music.
Yeah.
And then when they, I don't know, when the internet came about, you could go, I might listen to this, I might listen to that, and you start getting into more stuff.
But you weren't as defined by your genre as that was definitely the way when I was at school. I was a metalhead, like, you know, and I pretty much wouldn't palate anything else. Well, that's ruining my identity to be into dance music, like, you know. But now you're cherry picking everything, you know.
But it's also because it's because you're not paying £15 for a CD. It's like now you can download it for nothing.
It's a shame. It's throw away as well. So, you know, you're not really supporting artists because you're just listening to it all for nothing. Yeah. You know? So there is a music scene here.
Definitely.
Have we got anyone famous enough in music to be saying to somebody, a tourist that's out with you, I'm from Caithness, a place that Neil Waltz are from?
Mr. Boom.
Mr. Boom.
He's from... no, he's not from Caithness, is he?
That's a good story. No, I think Mr. Boom, is that like Mr. Tumble? Or?
No, you know my Mr. Boom back in the day.
No.
He used to be on TV. He used to be like, have his kids' TV show, and then he used to have a big backpack, and he'd be like, he comes from England.
Yeah, right. And then he made like a one-man band.
And he's either from Helmsdale, or maybe he's from Caithness. But
I'm going to have to get a video of this guy.
Mr. Boom.
That's what a theme tune for a show should be, is Mr. Boom.
I want to get Mr. Boom on it.
But there's been I've got a few good ones here. Neil Waltz, you know, they've done pretty good, like.
Very good,
you know, I wouldn't say they've reached the point that we can define our county by the success of Neil Waltz, but they're certainly recognised out with Caithness, and that seems to be how we're courting some sort of idea of success right now. You know,
I do like about Neil Waltz because I was now a big indie fan, and then but like used to see like Darren in the pub and that, and then it was later on somebody go, he's on Neil Waltz, and I was like, all right, and I never knew, but it was just down to earth. It's not got a
but they all are, like, you know, if you don't forget Futures Boys and all the rest of it, they're just, you know,
that's what
they're doing really well, but they're still just Caithness guys.
Yeah.
You know, they're not elevated to untouchable levels yet. You know, I do remember Newmarket back in the noughties had quite a good music scene. You know, Iain and Stevie was running it, and they managed to get it on the kind of tour route. You know, so there was quite a lot of up and coming bands. You know, but at that point, everyone used to just descend there straight after work on a Friday. You know, so we'd all be sitting there in rigger boots, lashing pints in us. We were supposed to be having a couple of pints and going home for dinner, and it would just turn into the beginning of the sesh. And then obviously a band would start then about 8 o'clock, you know, and by this time we're fucking 6 pints deep, you know. So Jake Paul playing in Newmarket, you know. Jake Paul? Yeah, Jake Bug.
Jake Bug, alright. Yeah.
Jake Bug's playing in Newmarket. And we're still having our after work pints, you know, so we're like, man, shut up, man, I can't hear my fucking pint in here, right, you know. Because Newmarket was such a small venue, you know, so we're basically sitting there with our back turned to Jake Bug, drinking his pints, you know, and about 2 or 3 weeks later he hits Radio 1 or 2, whatever one it was, and it blows up, you know. So everyone's going, I heard this Jake Bug. I heard Jake Bug in Newmarket 2 weeks ago. Like, he's on Radio 1, you know. No way. What's the chances, you know? But I mean, that just shows we've got a music scene, but we don't always appreciate it as much as what we should, like, you know.
But also, I think like a bit of being grounded. I do think like you see people who like you see Neil and Waltz and Forget Future. They're just chill. It's no, they didn't feel above.
Exactly, like it's still approachable, you know. They're obviously still proud and not forgotten their roots yet. They haven't left. They're not on top of the pops, you know. They're still. They're not. They're household name in London yet, you know. But I'm pretty certain that they're all good guys, and if they ever did make it out far, they would forget where they came from, you know. Forget Future, forget Caithness. We also have got round in here up and coming bands, Socialites. They write their own stuff, you know. They're a young team, like, you know.
So, Socialites is the one the last singer. Yeah.
I think they write their own music as well.
That's cool.
You know, that means a lot. If you want to get big outside of Caithness, you can't be a cover band, you know.
No.
You know.
I think that's where like a lot of people say they get stuck on, because they're like, you think, oh, we'd be a cover band or we'd be a wedding band, because that's kind of where they could make money.
That's the only place you can make money. Yeah. And then you get stuck. You ain't going nowhere. But you're not going nowhere. But you ain't leaving the county unless you're an exceptionally good cover band. You know. If you want to go anywhere else or be listening to online, you've pretty much got to be writing your own stuff. You know.
That's one thing that would be good if they could get a music venue up here, like a sort of like what you call it, accordion studio.
Yeah.
That'd be a.
Well, I think keep your ear to the ground, because that might be something that's come up and coming as we speak. You know, my brother has started a charity called Cameo, Caithness Arts and Music Event. Organisation? Does that spell cameo? Something the acronym is more memorable than the full name. But yeah, that's my brother.
Is that your brother?
Jack McPhee. And
he was on what is that, a couple months ago?
What was he on this?
Yeah.
My brother?
Yeah.
Ryan?
This cameo.
Yeah.
He was
Big
on
tall
there.
guy.
Big tall guy.
We don't look anything like each other.
No, because like a podcast, there was nothing against them. They're like such and such coming on. I never knew who this person was and that person, because I was trying to look people up, me being dyslexic, and then it was a bad day for me, and I just fucked everything up. And I was like,
so did the podcast get put out?
It did get put out, but it was just it was on my fault. Like,
it's the right people are behind it. They're all ex musicians. They're all not late 90s, early 90s bands, you know. And it's funny because they're all actually drummers, which just shows that it's always the drummer that's actually holding it all together, you know. But they're recognizing that there's a lot of musicians here. Gigs get put on, no one's putting effort into sound or where things are, and then sometimes the how good of a performance that people are putting on is not being projected well enough because the equipment's not up to it, or the sound's not been checked, and it's almost like let's just homogenize the ability to put a show on, you know. But they're looking at the kind of funding landscape. There is money available out there for arts, so it's like, well, just grab it with both hands and turn it into something, you know.
No, they're doing well. I've been a couple of their shows, but I mean, like, I think it's such a good thing because it's like they're doing it above board. They're not just doing it like,
exactly,
we've got a shed here out.
And plus, it's for the benefit of the scene, basically. You know, everybody. How many things we've been to, I'm like, oh, that's good, but it sounds shit, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we can't do this without mentioning Brandy McPhee.
Oh, of course,
you know, might not be either our style of music, but the guy's probably the most famous person that's come out of Caithness since, I don't know, who was the last famous person that came out of Caithness? We'll get that in another section, Mr. Boone. He was from Helmsdale, but we'll clear him anyway.
We're taking him out.
Yeah, Brandy McPhee's massive. No, he's huge. No. So we googled it and Brandy McPhee came up, you know. A few other people came up was Jim Sutherland, who I know. I worked a little bit with Jim Sutherland before. He made a movie about like a film, and he composed a piece of music that went along with the film about life coming from a cell all the way up to the nuclear age, you know.
Okay.
Right, called When Fish Began to Crawl, and I'd taken some like drone footage of surfers at Thursday East. He must have seen it online. It's like, that'd be really cool footage to put in this movie, you know.
Nice.
And then I went down to see the premiere of that show in Inverness. It's called Iain Court, you know. It's the first time I've ever seen a full piece symphony orchestra playing live, you know. It's not the type of thing I would listen to in the car, but certainly it's an eye opener. If you're into music and sound, you're like, wow, you know, put 25 people on stage and get them all doing something. It's like, wow, it was really cool.
It'd be powerful, like.
I got to see my name rolling up in the credits, which was.
Nice.
Which is cool. It's always nice to go, look,
that's
me for my 10 seconds of footage you got paid 50 quid for.
But still, you can get yourself an IMDb now.
What's that?
IMDb is like for anything for films. It means like, and you got a credit. It means in say like anybody in the world can look your name up and go, oh, he's in this film or he's done this, and then they might.
And then you're in something, It's a foot in the door, you know.
Yeah.
Well, thanks very much, Jim. But again, I think if we're abroad in Portugal and you've just bumped into someone, they're like, where are you from? You're not going to say, I'm from Caithness, you know where Brandy McPhee is from. No slagging the Brandy there. I think most of us are really proud of what Brandon's become, but it's not big enough to identify Caithness by, you know? Yeah, totally. So that's music. There is a music scene, but nobody's really made it big yet. So the next one is produce. What do we make here?
Well, it was his last factory.
Caithness glass.
Stone.
We don't make Caithness. It was famous for Caithness glass, but Caithness glass isn't getting made in Perth. So it's like that's where the glass factory went to, you know. So it's like, I think in the 70s you could introduce yourself by Caithness glass was quite a big thing, you know. But even for the last, I don't even know if they still make it in Perth, you know.
No, I'm not sure either.
That's a shame, you know. That was, but it's the one that sticks out the most of what gets made in Caithness. And it had Caithness in the title, you know. It's obviously Caithness stone as well. Which, talking about old buildings and talking about stone, we'll be stuck in here forever, you know. Obviously, I work with Caithness stone most days. That's here and there. It's the type of thing that people are like, go and get rid of that, you know, because it's so abundant. It's just a pain in the hole, you know. And then when you see these guys in the line, they're like, wow, got myself a bit of Caithness. Do you think they had Italian marble or something? They're like, oh yeah, a bit of Caithness stone, you know. there's probably a market in taking rubbish bits of Caithness stone at people's gardens, putting it on a lorry and putting it down the line, and they'll buy it, you know.
Well, the thing is, like, even the west end of Edinburgh, like all that stone on the ground, it's Caithness stone because it's black.
Yeah.
It's like,
and streets in New York are paved with Caithness stone, you know.
Is it?
Yeah.
Jesus, yeah.
It's all around the world, like, it's a big part of. Obviously, it's what everything all around us is made out of, like, but
that's how Wick got called Dirty Week,
Was it?
Aye, because I think the fishermen coming in the port and they seen his stone that was black,
black, right?
and he's in there.
You think that, or you know it?
Well, that could be bullshit from a
I was gonna touch on this later on, you know, about the Wick Thurso rivalry was going to be later on, you know. But the truth of it was Dirty Weeker, not Dirty Weeker, you know.
Oh, right.
But because I'm from Thurso and we're a bunch of snobs, we always seen it as, oh well, you're Dirty Weekers and we're Tina Bowdies, as if we gave a shit about that. It's like, you're a Tina Bowdies, man, that has no effect on me at all, you know. But every time I call you a Dirty Weeker, you're pissed off, you know. Or do you call yourselves Dirty Weekers, you know? So, but the way I understood it was a Dirty Weeker and not a Dirty Weeker. We just turned it into Dirty Weeker, you know.
Right.
And a Dirty Weeker meant a hard worker.
Is that? Yeah. Oh, right, that's not bad on that.
Yeah, but you got
we took you're away like that.
You took yourself to it. They came off the boat and they thought, look, that shit. That's a better story. But someone can correct that. But I'm pretty sure. But again, that's an idea of how detached from our culture we are. It's the main rivalry. That's like Edinburgh, Glasgow, fucking Celtic Rangers, whatever. And it's based around us saying Dirty Weeker, Tina Bowley, and we're not even sure what it fucking means anymore.
But where did Tina Bowley came from?
Tina Bowley was supposed to be that when I don't know if I should either, but when people from Wick came through to Thurso, folk in Thurso were drinking their tea out of a bowl instead of a cup, you know.
All right, so
maybe we were bucks in, and you boys had it all, you know. I mean, there's no doubt Wick had more money in it. It was a royal borough. It was You know, it had more about it than Thurso did back in the day. Thurso was just a little wee shitey fishing village until Dunry came along, you know. So you boys were taking the piss at the fact that we never even had cups. We were drinking it out of bowls, you know. And we were going on about we were trying to say you're hard workers, you know. And now it seems to turn table. We're like, we don't even know what the fucking Tina Bowdy means, and we think you're a bunch of dirty bastards. That's just the way shit evolves, you know. So yeah, Caithness stone. What else do we produce? Whiskey, yeah. So Old Pulteney was recognised as one of the best whiskies in the world at one point, you know. So I knew you said it was in Still Game as well.
Oh yeah.
5 years old, a wee sip of history.
Aye, well, it'll be history when it's flying out my piss in about an hour.
Old Pulteney. Now, I like this one. It's got a lovely nose.
I like this one. It's got a lovely shiny label.
That's like made it in Thurso in Caithness terms when it's turned up a Still Game, man.
That's basically royalty now. Like, that's Scottish royalty.
That's the highest. But you might introduce yourself as the place where Old Pulteney came from, you know, because whiskey's pretty much world. I've never heard anyone say, "I'm from Caithness," you know, Old Pulteney, but you might.
But the thing about like the other bit is like this is a really good story. It's like Wick being dry, like and then there was stills up and like
that's right.
And it's like all of that story. Like they should make that as a landmark, because it's like
they should. And then in one of the old Caithness bookies it says, the only time. So obviously they had Battle of Culloden and all the rest of it, and then they militarised Scotland in order to oppress the population. So they built Fort George, which was a military fort and barracks that was ready to put out soldiers to wherever a new rebellion started, you know.
Okay.
So they built Fort George, and that's off the coast of Inverness, big massive, whatever it is, 17th century fort built in that kind of angular style. Anyway, then at that time it was prohibition, so there was no alcohol allowed in Wick, you know. Prior to that, Wick was drinking like some of the most amounts of alcohol known to mankind, you know. There was some sort of list of how many barrels were getting drunk here, you know. And then all of a sudden they said, right, pour it all out in the street, and there's prohibition, you know. And then what happened was the Wickers started rioting because they weren't getting any tea. So the only time that Fort George was ever used was just to send military troops from Inverness up here to quell a rebellion because they stopped the drink. So basically
That's
built Fort George to keep wet dry.
Jesus,
Whether it worked or not, we just all started having illicit stills.
But it's like it's stills up near high school, or meant to be up near that, but
Right.
still haven't been found out.
Yeah, never right. They still haven't been found. Yeah,
and
they were building them between gables. Apparently, they would build two, like a gable end, you know,
Right.
and they would build another gable end, and then there would be a space in between the wall, and that's
Okay.
where stills were getting built. You know?
was it not like it was a bits that was like doors where they like used to like you knock on the door? I don't know. Again, this is all shite from my pub, but I don't know what's true and what was made up. But it was like something like a door, and then they put a drink and close it.
And
You
shut
like,
it, you don't even know.
I don't know if this is nonsense they're talking now. I was just taking it as fact. That's all right.
I don't know. It's a good story.
Yeah.
Anyway, like, oh,
It's like
Loch Ness Monster's not real, but we're talking about it, so.
But it's like even my granddad was saying about something to do with like dances, what used to go on, and they said that he used to put in sauce bottles, and it was like, and that's where you're on the sauce.
Yeah,
I'm like, is
right,
that true or is that made up?
I put it in a sauce bottle. Yeah.
But I liked it. I mean,
Yeah,
I was like,
well, it makes sense. Like, it makes sense. Worth remembering. So whiskey. But yeah, would you introduce yourself by? Is it enough of a cultural identifier? Don't know. You know, Glenmorangie. If you said you were from Tain, you might say Glenmorangie. You know. So,
I think it's if you're speaking to a whiskey guy.
Definitely. They would probably be one of the first things they ask. Is what you got her, you know. But I'm hugely behind that, you know, and I believe in localism, like, so I don't really drink whiskey that much, but I'm certainly behind it. All the distilleries, Martin and Clara, I've got Stannergill whiskey getting built, a new distillery outside Caston, you know.
Oh, yeah.
And so hopefully that goes from strength to strength, really, you know. And they've obviously got Rock Rose gin as well, you know. So sometimes I'm abroad, I look across the bar and Rock Rose gin's in a kind of white pottery bottle as opposed to a glass bottle. It sticks like a sore thumb because it's the only bottle that's not made out of glass, you know, or whatever it's made out of. It's pretty identifiable. So you're sitting there abroad and you're like, "There's Rock Rose gin. That's from my that's my neck of the woods," you know. But
Johnny Groats is like in the period of like the last 15 years, like you see how much money and it's
building up.
It's building up, and it looks good because it's a good community here, you know, and they're keeping
they have got a good community here as well, you know. Andrew Moat and all, they're certainly building on it into something more than it was years ago, you know. But later on, we're
Johnny
saying,
Groats, he's
and then I was involved in the mill as well, you know. I did a bit of work in the mill, and Rugnaval's done the whole mill up, you know. I mean, it's been really inspiring to watch them take an old building and bring it back to exactly as it was and get the mill going again. You know? So you go in there and the water wheels turn in and they can mill grain.
It's nice, like aye.
I think that's as much for a community as it is for John O'Groats as a tourist trap for tourists, you know. But it's almost like John O'Groats folks needing somewhere they can go and say, well, we're a little bit, you know.
I think because we did a haunted house, or what is it? It was good because people did come along, and then
when did you do it? Like this one?
It's just the last one, past it, and then it's just we just keep building on it, and then and same goes the haggis dance as well. That was a couple of weeks ago,
right?
But it's just
myself and Ken McElroy put a haunted house. Right, we were involved in a haunted house once, and it was such a good crack, man. Such a good crack. I wanted it to be as scary as possible, but we couldn't help bursting out laughing in the middle. You know, so you're trying to. I made a kind of table, and then I sunk myself into the table, and then put a boiler suit on and made a fake body, and had Ken sitting pulling my guts out. You know?
Magic,
So you kind of got to act as well. So but the people come in and you know who they are. You know, if that's Maclean, you just be like It was hard to keep the act going. Like But yeah, I'd love to put another haunted house on.
We'll go, like if we're doing it this year, we'll definitely give you a shout.
Yeah, give me a shout. I'm well in that. You know? I'm almost into the point that I don't want it to be comical. I want people to be scared shit.
Yeah.
Which is probably a bit too much for
it's
the 10-year or whatever age they are. You know.
It's what
some of that teenagers was trying to lay upon you. You're like, fuck yeah, that guy's gonna not fucking lamp out here. Right?
is one in the way in the west? Is a haunted house for all year?
Yeah, right. Never.
Way past like Betty Hill and Tongue and that.
Is there? Haunted house all year round?
All year round. This guy made it, and I fancy going to that one.
Yeah, I'd go out for that.
That'd be a good laugh. Like
I never even knew it was a thing.
No, it was only because I was sitting there looking up haunted houses, and I said,
"Well, so was I at the time, you know, because I was doing a lot of wee haunted house. I was trying to bring it back to the community, you know. Yeah. The building that we were doing it in was a drill hall, and it's been structurally condemned. We can't use it anymore. So there's been a kind of little thing to say, let's do a haunted house, but we can't find a building in Thursday to do it. Yeah. There is, you could do it in the fire station or whatever, but it doesn't look very haunted. It's almost better than an old kind of building that's Scotted, you know.
Yeah.
Anyway, we digress again, you know. So we asked ChatGPT what Caithness produces, and it did say Caithness glass, Caithness stone, whiskey, fish. So it's known for producing fish, but all the fish goes in a lorry, and Stephen's lorry and goes away. We're producing it, but we're not eating it, you know.
Aye.
And then the other thing it came up with was Caithness Broth Project shop. I'm like, wow. So we produce so much of fuck all that the Broth Project is seen as something that is a producer. We produce T-shirts with our logo on it and little wee pin badges, you know. But maybe it was because I've programmed ChatGPT, so maybe it was just an echo chamber that was feeding back to me. But I thought, surely we're not producing so little that the Broth Project is seen as a producer of things, you know.
But I do find it weird, like what you're saying, like crab and all the fish goes all the way down, and then it gets sent back up the road. That just makes no sense.
Yeah, I was in the upper deck and took the wife out for dinner. I was wanting an upper deck steak, and she was she ordered crab linguine, you know. So the poor waitress was like, "Oh, we don't have any crab." And we're like looking at his crabs, so like, you do realise you're in the biggest crab fishing port in the north of Scotland, and you're telling us there's no crab for the crab linguine, you know? And she's like, "Oh yeah, but we don't really get our crab from here." I'm like, you can pretty much guarantee crab has come from here, you know? It's gone in a lorry, done to wherever it's gone,
and then
put in a tin or whatever, and then you bought it from some wholesale supplier. Like, surely if you're putting crab linguine on the menu, you run out of crab, you just go outside and ask someone for a bit of crab. You know? I mean, this is the world we're living in, you know.
Because it's a shop. I don't know, it's a shop, but it's a little pop-up shop down in Wick.
That's Tasty Toes.
I haven't been yet. But like,
that was the one that was in Dunbeath anyway. But I think there's a pop-up shop in Wick.
It means I haven't been yet.
So yeah, produce. Are we famous for what we produce? Well, the answer to that one's pretty much no, not anymore anyway. It might have been in the past, but right now we produce fuck all, you know?
Yep.
So the next one is...
even the crisps is gone now,
Yeah, that's right, seaweed crisps.
Seaweed crisps.
And they were quite good. What were they? Shore. You know? But I think recently that folded up, you know?
That's a shame.
I can't remember. I spoke to a guy and he did say why, but I'd be lying. Let's just make a story up, like, you know? They went to put a pack of crisps, made it a seaweed, and they accidentally picked up a condom and a fucking fanny pad off the fucking beach, you know? I don't know. You can put it in if you want. Sorry guys, I'm not slagging at him, it doesn't exist anymore anyway, you know? Couldn't be sure what was in it. No, our water's clean, it's the only line you got to worry about shite. The next one was art. Is Caithness famous for its art? You know? So then it's like, well, I've got some reasonably recognised artists, you know. But we don't have a famous art style or anything, like, you know.
No, I mean, like Iain Scott's art style definitely comes from Caithness. Even he lives over in New York now. There's a lot of stuff like he used to always paint Geordie Slavery,
right?
And
Geordie Slavery,
local characters. But it's like he'd be like in our exhibition, it'd be Geordie Slavery. He's like,
and what would he be doing? Like, wasn't it life drawing or whatever?
It was just him, and it'd be a scory in the background. It was quite Caithness, like.
But that guy, that's David Graham Scott, that writes for the paper's brother. And his paintings sell for like 5 figures, like 20 grand a painting, like, you know. So
I think he's a doctor called Dr. Art or something.
Right. A real doctor, or he's just
it's like a doctor in art. It's like
a doctorate.
Some
PhD. Good on him. And if you're selling art for 20 grand for a picture of Geordie Slavery,
you're doing all right.
You're doing all right. Yeah, and it's Caithness being so. Charles Scott donated a one-of-a-kind painting to the Broth Project that we could auction off, you know. We were incredibly grateful for that, because we're like, this painting's worth 20 grand, you know. I can't really remember how much that one fetched, probably about 6. I can't remember. But it was 4 figures and it was thousands, you know, but it wasn't tens of thousands, you know. Still good on them, you know. And most of these other people submitted to it as well. So Hazel Cashmore, she's recognised outside of Caithness, and Lisa Poulsen, who does the stonescapes, is pretty cool. It's like taking pictures of Caithness stone and then taking a picture of a sunset and putting the two together so that it looks like the stone is the sunset. You know? It's pretty rapid. And that's recognised out with the Caithness. You know, I think pretty much everyone's probably got a Lisa Poulsen picture in their house now. But by the time you're actually managing to sell, I don't know, 4,000 each print or whatever, that's more than what's going in Caithness. So that's been sold outside Caithness, you know.
Because I'm sure Mom's got one with a pillow where it's a sailor going in. It's in first row. I think that's a Lisa Poulsen.
It's on a pillow, Caithness Art Society is the longest running art society in the UK. So we probably should have some famous people
Yeah.
as artists now, since we've been doing it longer than anyone else, like, you know. And Prince Charles sometimes submits his art in there as well, which is not a big royal fan, like, but some of his art's actually all right, you know.
I was just about to say it because I think he did a picture of Mill, Johnny Groats Mill.
Probably did, yeah.
And
He tends to paint mills and castles and shit in watercolour. It's predictable, but it's well executed. Like.
He's like, and then that's one thing about like a royal family. That's a Caithness thing. It's like they come up here,
to get away,
and nobody cares. It's like
I think that's why the Queen Mother bought it, because she was just getting treated like a normal person.
Like,
oh, there she is. What you saying now?
It's like the best picture I've ever seen is Piddles, and he's got his hands wrapped, and is that like one of the games? And Pills is sitting there is next to like King Charles, and he says posing well. He's like, he's got a vest on it. It's just brilliant.
Was he doing like strongman or something?
But he's just like if you know Piddles, man, he's just hands wrapped, he's sitting there like that. It was just brilliant.
Good on him. Yeah, so maybe it is an element of coming up here because they can be made to feel normal for a moment. You know, if you're constantly surrounded and simpering, quivering fucking psychophants, and all of a sudden someone's like, "Ah, what's the crack now, Charlie?" Maybe it's refreshing, you know.
It's good, like, yeah, because
all that happened now is lining up with Prince Andrew.
That's different. Yeah, he's not.
He'll get treated the way he should be. Like, hey, see, now you pedo. You know,
house man.
So if someone moves to Caithness, it takes about 10 minutes before they get a fucking nickname. You know. So it's like, what's your name? John. Where are you from? England. English John. So if the fucking Prince Andrew comes up here, it'll just be Pedo Andrew. Just fucking straight away, like, you know.
He'd be next to like.
You just got to take it.
Watch it for him. He touches his bum.
I've got a mate, and he's like, he's in Australia now, Gordy Malcolm, but he's like, I've got another mate from Birmingham, and he phones me up at parties, and he says, right, tell me about the nicknames. And he just has an hour-long phone call where Gordy goes through nicknames from Caithness.
Oh, brilliant.
And just like, Skitter, Moon, Geordie Van Dam. It's mental, you know. And so these people are obviously delighted, you know. Never mind about cultural identifiers, just people from Birmingham phoning people up just for us to tell them about how the nicknames have come out with, you know.
But I think it's the best nicknames come from here, like.
They've got to be like.
Like even name Shitsy, like fucking Shitsy, and then his son's now called Shitsy because his dad was called Shitsy. It's like second Shitsy.
Anyway, Plops. I'm pretty sure it was associated in the same way. Anyway, you know, it's Plops.
It was one that was like, I had a look at a house now a couple of weeks ago, and I was like, I can't mind his ex, and she was called Lizzie Tintits. You know, like everybody knew her as Lizzie Tintits.
Your house is going to get bombed here.
Are you speaking about?
I like a long nickname, you know. This is like, you know, it's not the kind of thing you would call your dog when you got shouted. You know, you can see how people get called Speedy or whatever because it's a quick and easy name, you know. But it's when you put effort in to say a big long nickname, you know. You're like, how the hell did you end up with a nickname like Geordie Van Dam? You know?
Geordie Van Dam sounds that's brilliant.
You don't mind that? I haven't heard his name mentioned in a long time, but it was one that got mentioned quite a lot, you know.
Other ones was right. You got Johnny Starr and it was loads of like you said.
I first started serving my apprenticeship and I had to come through here to work to a job centre or some shite and fill out some aptitude test, you know. Yeah. And it was me, Sean Starbuck, and Chalky Biscuits. You know?
Chalky Biscuits.
So I'm like, what's the crack, man? I mean, straight away we clocked each other, going, this is a bunch of culls, you know.
Yeah. So
Chalky's introduced themselves. I'm Chalky Biscuits, you know. I don't even think I fucking even know what his real name is, you know.
No.
Anyway, and then Sean's, I'm Sean Starbuck, you know. And I'm like, what kind of fucking nickname's that? And he's like, that's my real name. You know? I'm like, fuck off, like that's not your fucking real name, like fucking Starbuck. He was getting pissed off, you know. That was sorry, Sean, you know. You'll remember that day, like, you know. But it was the beginning of a long running piss take relationship, you know.
That's brilliant. Chalky Biscuits, like I knew him since I was a kid. Because he used to hang about with my uncle, like, because my uncle was 4 years older than me. My uncle and auntie were 4 years older than me. And it all started from, I think he washed a motorbike for a pack of chocolate biscuits. If that's true, I don't know, but that's where it came from.
Is it Chalky Biscuits or Jockey Biscuits? I don't think it fucking matters. You know? It's interchangeable, you know. Yeah. Oh man, I've got some other nicknames there. You can take it out if it's too bad. Like, there was a guy in Tesco and he was like, he was there and he would just come up and he would laugh and he'd be like, fucking hell, he laughs like Muttley, but he was pale white. He looked like he'd never seen sunshine in his life, So he says, "Oh, he looks like he's got bum cancer." So that was when you're 15, mate. So he ended up getting called Bum Cancer Boy Muttley. And it just stuck, There's Bum Cancer Boy Muttley. To the point that I think he called himself it. And they're just, "Hi, how's it going? I'm Bum Cancer Boy Muttley." Charles Sutherland, he's in the Nick now. But he had this guy working from Spittle Tatty. Yeah. And Charlie says, "Right, you're going to be working with Spittle Tatty today, But he never says, "Don't call him Spittle Tatty." So I'm working away and I'm like, "All right," this guy comes through. I says, "You must be Spittle Tatty, And he just kind of looking at me like, I'm like, "All right, right, Spittle Tatty, let's go and do this, let's go and do that, And then I must have seen Charlie afterwards. I was working with Spittle Tatty all day. It's fucking kind of standoffish cunt,
Yeah.
And Charlie said, "You want to call him Spittle Tatty, were you?" I'm like, "Well, that's what you fucking said his name was, So I've just been like, "All right, Spittle Tatty."
Oh, Jesus.
So there's some of them, that's their nickname, but you're not allowed to say it.
It's like
Have you got a nickname then?
Oh, Fat Sean. It's always been Fat Sean. It doesn't matter when I lost weight. It's just Fat Sean. And there's people who are bigger than me. Just call me Fat Sean. I'm like, "Wait, are you fatter than me?"
It's like Fat Cat who delivers the fish, He was Fat Cat at school and he's certainly not fat anymore. I'm probably fatter than him now, I still see him and go, "Fat Cat." That's it, it's too late. Once
It's
it's
like stuck.
Yeah. So what was
Went off on a big tangent.
Forget all these things here. Nicknames as our culture.
Oh, definitely.
So art, I've got Bristol and Banks here, So if I say Bristol, you probably do think Banks.
Oh, definitely.
So it shows that an area can be recognised as from its art, its art style or artists, And again, Caithness, is it famed for its art? No. Not in any way,
But the difference is Banksy was somebody in a French artist kind of was doing this sort of same thing as putting up stencils years ago, but he kind of he never copied it, but he changed it to his style, and that's why I like street art because before it was like this spray paint,
which is tagging,
and then this was like a bit different,
to make it into something,
and it always had a meaning behind it. It wasn't just a tag.
I did a bit of street art myself at one point.
Did you? Well, I was going to get onto that.
I don't know if I should admit it or not. I'll have to see how it goes.
Oh, I tried it in the lockdown because I got bored. And I went out round Edinburgh at night, fucking doing it. But half it's done now.
What did you put up then?
I was this stencils of my sort of artwork and then stencil it on. But the paint I was using house paint.
And it's just
washed it after a wee bit.
Yeah, it's an expensive game,
But it was just a bit of fun now. I was doing sort of little electric boxes and trying to make them look like high-rise flats and stenciling windows.
Cool. Taking something and making it something.
I was trying to do stuff like that.
That's the thing I thought about as well. Most of my stuff was around the independence referendum.
Nice.
So and it was like I had plans for more. I was going to move into this, but I don't know. Like many of my plans, I've had them and then I've done a wee bit of it and then just moved on. I think what happened was we lost and then it was what's the point of us?
I would say, can you mind the night? I literally thought we were going to win that.
Totally, me too. All the way, the way.
Yeah, it was bouncing where I was, and then I went to register, and because I was still registered up in Wick, couldn't register down the road, and I was like, "Fuck's sake!" And even then, I was watching, and going, "Oh, it's just going to be a memory." And then the next day, honestly, I mind just being.
I've noticed probably most down I'd been almost in my life because I was utterly convinced.
Same.
Utterly convinced. I mean, everywhere I looked, everyone else seemed to be either completely against, but in the closet about it, or outwardly. Inspired that there was going to be change, And then just the day after that, everyone's faces was just like
tripping now. I mind at the time I wasn't working there and going up to job centre, and I mind the guy at job centre going, "Oh, sorry, it's because he knew I was just broken about it, and then the only people who was most impressed compared to me was the tacky tartan shops, they thought they were going to make some money, They was just like
even worse, They probably made money and they run up to it anyway. Yeah, totally. It was a bad time. I took a photo of me holding my voting card.
Oh, that's
You can just tell by my face that it's like I'm proud and I'm ready for this moment. I've cut the voting card out now. But it was like the look on my face was almost a pride and happiness knowing we were going somewhere. You should actually have taken a photo the day after. Just the look at your face, just oh my god, how could we do it?
I just that I mind my mate the road. He's he fell out with me. He thought, like, North never voted no, and I said, no, we voted yes. And he said, no, it was all the people from the North, and I drink and he started getting a bit miffy, and I said, nah,
it wasn't us. I think Aberdeenshire or something was no, or certainly what's it called, Peterhead and all the rest of it, they were told again, it was fishing, it was fisheries, it was going to end up.
It was just scaremongering.
It was just scaremongering now. There's no two ways about it. And I don't know if anyone can possibly look at it now and say anything other than you were told you were going to vote no to keep your place in the European Union and vote no to protect your pensions. Ever since then, we got taken out of union, no money for the NHS. It's just everything they said was a pack of lies. And if we were to do anything else now or any other argument, I just can't listen to it. You can only be completely indoctrinated to think any other way.
Yeah. That's a shame, man. But like even that saying, like, my mate thought we voted no, and that was like you say, that's Aberdeen. That's nowhere near us.
Yeah, exactly. But they'll say the North or something. And they'll be thinking, oh, you're from the North, aren't you? And like, that's 300 miles away. We're so far north we fell off the fucking map. We're pretty much saying that the Caithness, as per usual, has some people that produce some nice art, but it's not really famous for its art.
No.
So it's another cultural identifier that we're really failing to hit the sides on. Like, I wouldn't introduce Caithness as anything that has got associated with art in a famous way. So the next one is famous folk. So who's the most famous person that's ever come out of Caithness apart from Brandon McPhee?
Is it Robert Stevenson who wrote Treasure Island?
Yeah. That's the one that I didn't write down, but ChatGPT never came up with him. But I mean,
I think because he's not originally from Caithness,
but he wrote it when he was here.
Yeah, and I think and then he moved to Edinburgh and wrote. Oh, what's that one? Jekyll and Hyde.
All right, did he write that?
I think so. Because they based.
That's probably because he's not in Caithness.
Well, he never
during Prohibition.
He never had much good words to say about it.
Didn't he?
No, I
don't. I've got something written on the phone here. Back a little bit. Here we go. It was said of the Stroma folk that the men were stout and hardy, spadesmen, as was said before, but the women, while young, were tolerably well looked. But as they advanced in age, they grow in ghastliness in their countenances compared to that seen of the women in Orkney. So basically, somebody that's travelled through here has said that people from Caithness are stinking and people from Orkney are tidy. I remember when I was growing up, they were like, there's like 3 women to every guy.
I heard that.
Go over there.
You definitely get your whole hair right.
And then you went over there, and the guys were all like, they're all fucking big, burly rugby playing. So was a woman as well. I'm sure they were just calling them all heifers.
My mate's think is a thing in the Matrix up here, because they think all the lasses up here are gorgeous. Like,
right? Yeah.
They think like you're like, guys are not that nice looking, but women up here are fucking really good looking. I'm like, oh well.
Fuck you, prick. Yeah. What's the other one here? This is quite a good saying here. I can't remember who it's by, but this is Ken McElroy sent this over going, any fool can appreciate mountainous scenery, but it takes a real man of discernment to appreciate the moors of Caithness. Anyway, you can cut it out because it's not what I thought it was going to be.
All right. Okay.
Basically, the rest of Scotland's lovely because it's got mountains, but you really have to try and appreciate Caithness. But I remember that Ken used to give a talk, and he used to have this quote that we can't find now, and it was basically like, Caithness is flat and boring, and the only thing that's good about it is the coastline, which is a tiny little strip before it ends up being sea. So we're good at slagging Caithness to bits.
No, but I like Caithness. I would say it's a sky, yeah. Because you always
skies, yeah.
You get skies because it is flat.
Yeah,
it's
no. See it all, yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny because when you're from here, you just don't appreciate it because you see it all the time, and then when people come up here, they're like, "Wow, look at it's massive,
Because it's just like you go to the city, you can't see stars.
Yeah.
It means up here you see a wave of stars.
Yeah.
And then
I quite often stop and go, "Wow," went out for Northern Lights the other night,
Oh, so
Northern Lights hit, and then everyone's like, "Right," you just see it on people's mobile phone, and you're like, "Wow," and then you go outside, and you're like,
It's not.
It's quite as good as that, but it's still happening,
Yeah.
You don't. You look anyway because you don't want to be the only one that didn't.
And everybody's got the same picture, right?
Yeah. So famous folk, you got a guy that wrote Treasure Island, but he's not actually from Caithness, but he wrote it when he was in Caithness. So Maclean
somewhere
had,
like that, aye. But it's a plaque,
we'll bookend it with if you were just met someone from abroad and you're like, I'm from Caithness, a place that Treasure Island was written. It's probably still not a heavy enough cultural identifier.
No.
We got Alexander Blaine invented the clock, electric clock.
No, right.
So Weatherspoons, is it not the Alexander Blaine?
That's what it is, aye. No, really clicked
I'm
that.
from fucking Thursday, man. I'm a team about it. I'm telling you.
I know. That's mental, eh? He should be a more staple than
probably. Well, they've tried to name a pub after him. You know, it was
nobody-
probably Weatherspoons that decided to do it, not even anyone from Wick. You know.
Aye, but in people just call it Spins.
What was the guy Charles Scott painted?
Iain Scott or
Ian Scott painted.
Geordie Slavery.
Geordie Slavers. Never mind Alexander. If you listed in the people of Wick, they called it Geordie Slavers Bar.
Slaver bar, eh, mate?
Fucking is a slaver bar. Is that even open anymore?
Yeah, it's still
It's still
open.
open. That's Weatherspoons.
Fuck knows it. No, it's a different company what's taken over.
You're still doing food now?
Yeah, it's the same company what's got Why Not, and they got a Seaview. And
All right, yeah. That's why it's crab linguine. You can't get your fucking crab.
Yeah,
Because all this hotels and places have been bought up by some company further south,
yeah,
and they just all get their food from the same supplier, you know.
yeah.
So in any way, it's anti-localism. It's everything being bought up by a big company, and everyone just turning into a wage slave. You know, it's what we should as locals be fighting against. You know,
Yeah.
is that if you want to retain your culture and who you are, then don't let your businesses be taken over.
Yeah.
Do we need a McDonald's and a fucking Greg's and all that shit here? I would have said no.
Yeah,
What
yeah.
makes us good is the fact that the second that shit starts, the stuff like McDonald's and Johnson's start to lose out. You know?
Oh, definitely.
You
Yeah.
know, it's part. This is family business and local business is what makes the culture.
But it's like Wick. There's a couple of things where like you notice like you got Tesco on the outskirts, and then you got B&M and all of that, and it's just killed the town centre.
Kills the middle. Yeah,
Aye,
it's a
and then-
donut. It's all on the outskirts, nothing in the middle.
Aye, and then now
It needs to be more a cream cookie.
definitely need a bit of aye. But even like the amount of shops in Wick what's closed down, and it's because of rates.
Yeah, it's because of rates. Yeah.
Aye.
Same thing's happening. Like it's about to be a time bomb, just a massive bomb of shit leaving the town centre right now. And we don't even have a B&M and things like that on the outskirts. But the factory shop shut in. Messy Ness is shut in. What was the other one? The cancer research shop shut in. It's like wow, and the M&Co's already shut. It's like what is going to be on the street here? You know.
I thought first I was doing alright because I went to get sambas and that's where I go to
McAllen's.
no a place what's shutting factory shop.
Right, yeah.
Get sambas and I was like, what's this place shutting because there's hardly anything here and they said, they're shutting.
You came at the right time, then you get cheap sandals.
That's exactly what
I'll take 2 pairs. Okay, I worked out right for you. I was in Thurso.
It's a first. There's still a few pairs if you want a pair.
I'll buy them.
I'll have 2 pieces.
I'm a samba dealer now, man. Yeah. So Alexander Bain. Yeah. So what we've got here, Neil Gunn, who's the writer of some book about Dunbeath River. You know.
Okay.
Yeah. Must have been famous in the 50s or whatever when he wrote it, but I don't think Treasure Island. You say Treasure Island, people still know it. I don't think Neil Gunn's works really that. I don't want to be slagging it, but again, I don't think it's that famous. But I can't even think of the name of the book, and I never read it. So
yeah.
I never read Treasure Island either. So
No, you're
I
alright.
still know what it is. You know.
Aye, no, like there's a lot of writers as well up here, but again, it's in their niche. And it's just like, there's a few writers up this way. Like
what else we got here? We got so if you're from Thurso and you ask anyone from Thurso who's famous from Thurso, everybody says Robert Dick. You know.
Okay.
So I said this to my mate last night. I said, "Who's famous from Thurso?" He says, "Robert Dick." I said, "What was he famous for?" And he's like, "I don't know." I'm like, "Well, it's not. Can't it be famous if all he's famous for is having a name? You've been told to remember that name, but you don't know why you're remembering it. You know.
Yeah.
So that's not fame. That's just indoctrination. You know.
Yeah.
So Robert Dick is famous for he's a botanist and he has a moss box. So if you go to Thurso, you can go to the North Coast Visitor Centre and go and see Robert Dick's moss box. Wow, I got bored in the middle of saying that. You know? I just like, don't think Robert Dick's moss. Not to be slagging it, it's probably did something important back in the day. But if you're an American tourist and you've just come to Thurso, and the best thing we've got to tell you is to go and see somebody's moss box, we need to have a wee think about this. You know? So I did a little bit of research there. ChatGPT says Arthur Sinclair, who just so happens to be from Thurso, and he was probably the first president of the United States of America.
That's mental.
It's crazy, you know. But the only thing is, it wasn't the United States of America at the time. It was he was the president of the Continental Congress, but the same damn thing under a different name, you know. It was the early days, and he was one of like basically founding father type characters, you know. So
would you been written a independent, or is that like way
I don't know
before?
if he's on that. I should look at that later on, you know. But certainly, like for whatever colonies have come together at the time, he's the first president of that situation, you know. And it's like, right, so the American tourist comes to Thurso and we're like, go and see Robert Dick's moss box. But when we could be telling them the first president of your country was born here, you know.
They would love it. You know, they would go, they would straight away, they would go, this is war culture.
Yeah. And if we made more of it, then maybe we could be saying I'm from Caithness, where the first president was from, you know. And that's something that we need to don't mean to be shitting on these other characters that we've spent a long time trying to build up.
Yeah.
But there's got to be space here for a bit shit. Just not excited about the moss box at all, you know.
No, I
Mossy box.
Like Americans would love it because in they would go, this is worth land. Or,
exactly. Totally. There's a in America where he died in Pennsylvania. There's a plaque and a memorial to him. Yeah. I'm like, well, surely to God we should be doing the same kind of thing here, you know.
That's mental.
The other one was they said the guy who invented the Boys Brigade from Thurso, you know. So the first Boys Brigade must have been in Thurso.
Okay. And
I'm like, alright, so, this is the same guy. My mate Liam knew who Robert Dick was, but didn't know why he was famous. Sorry, Liam, but he did know that the guy who invented the Boys Brigade was from Thurso. And I said, what's his name? He said, I don't know. And it's written on the welcome to Thurso sign, so we've only driven past it 40,000 times. Pretty sure one of those signs has fallen down. In Liam's defence, you know. So yeah, William Smith was his name, and he invented the Boys Brigade. You know, I don't know anyone that does the Boys Brigade anymore. You know.
No, I think what was it? I did beavers when I was younger. I think.
Yeah, so right.
And then after, I don't know, about 10 or something.
It's too many rules, and it's very militaristic. You know.
Yeah, it's not my thing. Like.
Yeah. Too many rules. Wondering he's going to stop coming to beavers.
They say it's on a Monday when it's on a Tuesday.
We changed the date. So famous folk. There is a few famous folk from Caithness, but nobody that's famous enough to say, where is it? Currymuir, that's where a guy from AC/DC's from. They've got a big statue to him, you know. Yeah. So some little villages have got famous people that come from them, and when you say I'm from Currymuir, you say I'm from Currymuir, the place where Bon Scott was from. I think that's who it was.
Yeah, it was Bon Scott. Yeah.
Probably got it wrong. Someone can phone in and correct it, but it just does show that a famous person can be a cultural identifier for an area, and we don't have one. Mm-hmm. The next one was folklore. I don't think we'll probably end up slavering all over this one, but I've got very little to say here, you know. So, what is the folklore of Caithness, or can you think of any folklore story?
I can think of like some Stroma ones, like where it used to have parrots and Stroma where like they switch off the lighthouse, and then when the ships came in, it crashed the ship and they went out in the boats and
they would go and get them.
Yeah, used to rob them.
Right. I never even heard that. That's a fucking wicked story.
It's a lot of Stroma stories.
Yeah, that's a folklore story. It's not a myth or a legend, but it's a folklore, you know.
Yeah. Or even it was two people who told me a story about as well as like when they used to somebody would be pregnant and they would take them across to the mainland. And the only way to communicate if it was alright, they used to put a white sheet. Right. And they go, alright, they had a kid, means like, and they show my people would be like, wearing binoculars and look over and go,
see if we got white sheet. That's
stuff
like
story, like it's probably loads of that stuff.
There's guaranteed loads.
Yeah, but like, nothing like monsters and
it's like it's not like Loch Ness. I say Loch Ness, and you think Loch Ness monster, you know. So folklore can be a clear cultural identifier for an area. Yeah, but I'm trying to think what is the biggest folklore story for Caithness. It's hard to say, you know. There was a lassie, artist lassie Callie, that came up here, and she does. I can't remember what the name of the organisation is. Sorry, Callie. It is Sid C Art, and she did a kind of competition with Ken McElroy to do a map of Caithness legends. Okay. You know, and everyone had to kind of create artwork, and then they were going to create this map, and it would on the map would have been all the different motives. What do you call it? Motifs of all the different legends that was from Caithness. Yeah. And this is another instance of how we're losing our cultural identity and memory of who we are, because hardly anyone was able to recount any of the myths and legends in order to make the map up, you know. And my wife put stuff in, but what she did was local legends, you know. So it was all the fishermen's faces and all the rest of it, you know. So it wasn't quite what the point was. The point was to try and remember our actual myths and legends. But we're so detached from that we've just ended up going, well, surely let's expand the medium here to say Davide or Jockey Iceman from Stroma. That's one of the people she drew. She's like, oh, he's a legend. He's Iceman, a Scrabster, you know.
Okay.
And he was one of the last people to leave Stroma, you know. So she submitted a portrait of him, you know, and that got submitted to it, which was really cool, you know. But it didn't help the fact that we're becoming detached from our own folklore and myths and legends to the point that we put a competition on and we could barely even fill up the whole map, you know.
You know, as a guy, like I want to get him on. He's a writer. He's in his 90s and he's wrote a book about Ulster, about dummy drones.
Yeah, I've seen that. I've seen the book the other day. You can buy the book in. Oh, what's it? It's Riverside Replicas. We've got it in stock.
Okay, but like, what is it like? Somebody like that, he's got all the knowledge that area, and it's like, if he's not wrote that down, I would have got all Ulster. Yeah. I mean, it's good. He's writing a second one.
Yeah, that's why it does matter. It matters the type of thing you're doing here, you know. Where you take people in and just they think it's irrelevant knowledge, but really it's probably sometimes the last time that anyone's going to know it. You know?
Yeah.
There was all sorts of. That's why my wife did the thing with fishermen's mannies, you know, and she wanted to ask them their stories. It's the same kind of thing, you know.
Yeah.
And there's all this legends around fishing, you know, so you're not allowed to say salmon on a fishing boat. You're not allowed to say rabbits, and there's different names for it. So if you get a salmon in a net, you can't say salmon because it's bad luck. So you've got to say cold iron is salmon, you know. Calamine rabbit is, you know, something else. Anyway, there was a thing called burn the witch. So if you're on a fishing boat, you're not catching any fish, you do a thing called burn the witch. So you get a candle or something like that, or something that burns, and you put it on all four sides, so it's like starboard, port side, whatever the front is called, power and brow, you know, and you've gone all the way around the boat with a candle and you chuck it in the sea, and that dispels the bad luck of having no fish, and then all of a sudden you start catching fish then, you know. I was like, wow, you know, is that a fisherman thing throughout the whole of Scotland, or is that just a kind of local thing, you know? Yeah. But if we don't collect these stories now from the mannies that still remember it, I mean, the fishing culture's dying, you know. The fishing boats that are coming in now are no local boats, they're European boats that, you know. And so the mannies that are telling us, they remember us from the time when it was local boats that was coming in, you know. And if you don't capture these stories now, that's it. Kapoof, it's gone, you know.
Well, you need it, because like even like, I mean, that's like 100 years ago, like all the sailors' jumpers were all knitted in a certain way. Because he had to keep in the water if you fell off a boat, you know, but and identify
who you were if you did get washed up.
It means I think like they should have jumpers like that. I would say
Fair Isle Gansey is the Fair Isle is the isle that's in between Orkney and Shetland. Okay. And it's known for its Gansey jumper, you know, Fair Isle jumper, you know. And they do obviously, whether they keep knitting them or not, but I know of a Fair Isle Gansey. If you said Fair Isle to me, first thing I would say is Fair Isle Gansey. You know? So it's the exact same thing, you know. See, that's obviously their pattern or whatever they do, you know.
But I would buy one like that. It's like,
I don't know if I would, but I probably wouldn't suit one. Like I buy it and wear it to work. You know, that's what happens with any clothes I get at Christmas. I'm like, thanks very much. I'll do for work. So folklore. There's a general disconnect from our old folklore. You know, other things they've got down there is Doupy Dan. You know, which was he was a famous tramp from Thurso. You know, so it's not necessarily. It's kind of folklore, but it's not. It's not like legends or myths. You know, it's more like urban legend. You know, where people are like, Doupy Dan was actually filthy rich. I remember him growing up, and he would be raking in. He would sit outside Robin's chip shops, and he would be waiting for people to throw stuff in the bin, and he would rake food out the bin and eat it. You know, and as a 4-year-old kid, you would just be like, "Why? What's going on?" You know. But the legend was always that he was actually a well-to-do guy, and he was rich, and he had all his money buried underneath his floorboards. But he was just choosing to live like this. You know. But
that's funny, because can you mind the man who used to do penny whistle?
Tin whistle man.
Tin whistle man. That was.
He'd be down the street with no shoes on and tin whistle, you know.
But he was meant to be like really clever. He was meant to be like, I don't know, but it was mental health or something.
Well, probably, and that's the reality. Is it probably was always mental health. We just put it down as he's a fucking. He's a cull. He's a nutter, you know. Not even a cull, a full blown nutter. Just leave him alone, you know. And now it's like, brand it and sort it out, you know. So yeah, folklore. Although some places like Loch Ness are known for their folklore, Caithness is generally disconnected from its folklore, other than urban legends. But I'm not going to introduce myself. Hi, I'm Iain, the place where Doughty Dan is from. You're definitely going to remember at the end of it. That guy was a fucking cult. So yeah, next one is landscape. Famous landscape or landmarks. So a place can be famous for its landscapes. Trying to think of somewhere it's famous for it. I was going to say Grand Canyon, but I'm not even sure where Grand Canyon is. It's like Arizona or some shit. Couldn't tell you either. It's probably going through. It's a big famous thing. So if you said you're from somewhere, and they would be, well, that's where Grand Canyon is, and straight away you can place them. So what is it Caithness has got landscape wise?
But it's man-made. That's the difference. I would say Walgo Steps.
Yeah, definitely.
And I would, if I tell people the smallest street in the world.
Ebenezer Street.
That'd be two places to still get a picture.
Yeah, definitely, especially with North Coast 500.
I'm going to introduce you. Hey, Jimmy, come here a minute. This is a local man who actually lives about 100 yards from this water. What do you do all day here?
Go for walks with the dog, go fishing. I go into work for the
You fishing there?
When it's a wee bit of calmer.
Is it true you dive off these rocks in the summer into the ocean below?
Not since a couple of weeks ago.
Well done.
So I think I probably would introduce myself via North Coast 500 nowadays. Obviously, I'm from Caithness, and instead of saying it's in between Inverness and Orkney, introducing yourself by where you're not from. That's the whole point of what I'm trying to get here. Is that there's so little about us that we're describing ourselves by where we're not from, because these other places are more famous. So nowadays I would probably say where North Coast 500 is. And then when the North Coast 500 was first founded, the office was in Wick.
Okay.
And Ken McElroy was the whatever project officer or whatever, But as it grew in popularity, they took the offices away from Wick and put them in Inverness.
That's what they always do.
Yeah, so like, all right, so this is branded to kind of bring tourism and something about the place. I mean, as soon as it turned into sun, you took it away from us.
I know.
Thanks very much, you bunch of fucking pricks. So what can you say, And then when you read people talking about North Coast 500 online, it's shit algorithm, because once you start commenting on something, it just gives you more of it.
Right.
So all these people are like, oh, yeah, I'm going to do North Coast 500. Can you tell me what to do and where to go? And everyone's like, right, once you get to Helmsdale, just go up the middle and avoid Caithness altogether because it's boring as fuck. I'm like, oh my god, we can't fucking win. We've invented this thing to bring people here, and now they're just taking a detour to cut us out,
Jesus,
so I deliberately went and got a map, and I've got myself a Google phone that you can just rub stuff out, rubbed out Caithness, and then wrote North Coast 500 and put it online. But there you go, where's the North Coast 500? Caithness just doesn't even exist.
That's bad.
Make your way up west to go and look at mountains,
It's because it looks like a biscuit tin now. It looks like
exactly. They're wanting it to be what they expect it to be.
They want
to
tweak.
Here and it doesn't look like what they thought it was. They're like, I'm just going to drive past it all,
Because the moment you leave Caithness and then you start going a bit of hill and all that, and it's in mountains and it's deer and all that, and
it's brilliant. I shouldn't say it, but as soon as the kids are grown up enough to be left home, myself and the wife will probably move up west, because she's from up west anyway. And looking out the window at a view is as good to me as anything else, So if I was going to build a house anywhere, my wife's a drafts person and I'm a builder, so no doubt at some point we'll look at building a house, but it'll probably be up west, Wow, I'm just totally shitting on the whole situation here now. Cut out Caithness. In fact, I'm going to fucking leave,
It's like what is it? We used to do hill walking, and we're going up, and we're going past in the car. It's like there's Jimmy Saddle's house. Like stop it! Like fuck's sake! Get a picture of Jimmy Saddle's house for fuck's sake.
Infamous, Yeah, so what we got obviously John O'Groats. We touched a little bit on John O'Groats already, but John O'Groats is the most, it's sold as the most northerly point. But it's not. None ahead is, So it's almost like when you try and say, I'm from Caithness, Land's End, John O'Groats. They're like, oh yeah, John O'Groats. Well, actually, once you've gone there and bought an ice cream, you better go to Dunnet if you want to be at the most northerly point, So it's not even what it's selling itself as,
Because that's where you go to see Northern Lights, is Dunnet.
Is it? Dunnet, totally, yeah. And I don't know, if you're a tourist, you do get a sense that you're walking into a tourist trap, So it's just all put on for you. Is it cultural at that point? It's like, it's manufactured, you know. Not this slagging. What can John O'Groats do? It is just the end of a road, you know. So you've got to put something there, you know. But Dunnet Head's got that. Doesn't need an ice cream shop, you know. It's kind of pretty cool as it is, you know, and it's not trying too hard to make it anything more than what it is. It's a car park, but it's pretty cool surroundings.
Yeah.
The other one is John O'Groats, fair enough. There you go. It's a car park and a bunch of coffee shops and stuff like that. But you go in the corner and it's Duncan Space Stacks. So I went up there and there's a tour bus there up at Duncan Space Stacks, and it's all this kind of tourists mincing about outside the bus. You know, they're kind of just aimlessly looking all around themselves. You know. So I went up the bus driver and I was like, you know, what you're doing here? And he says, oh, I just come here because it says on the map, you know. I says, well, that sign there that's got all mossy, it says that 200 metres that way, it's one of the most spectacular sea stacks in the UK, you know. And that's why you're supposed to be coming here, you know. But you've just come to a car park and told the people to get off. And they're just mincing about a car park. They don't know what they're doing here, pal. You know, they're taking a photo of a lighthouse. That's what they think they're here for.
Yeah. I know you should know what area is all about. And
bigger signage and more encouragement to get to the cliffside to see what it is. Because let's face it, Duncan Space Sea Stacks are absolutely spectacular. You know, and it looks like we should be making more of them to the point that if people are arriving in a tour bus and they don't know what they're doing there, then we're not trying hard enough to make sure that it's being promoted in a way to see it. You know. Yeah.
Because I know, like they're getting Stroma ferries now. They're going to do it in the summer. I think that's going to be brilliant.
Yeah. We did the Caithness Sea Coast tours. You know, I'm a bit of a completionist, so I was I want to make it to Caithness, Pentland and you know, an island I think it's part of Orkney actually, but it's once you get to Stroma and you look off the left a little bit, there's a lighthouse at the middle of nowhere, you know, and that's the Caithness Sea Coast tour was taking folk on tours out there, you know.
All right.
Well, I walked the John O'Groats Trail, obviously, you know, and you're seeing it all from the coastline, and it's absolutely spectacular. You know, couldn't believe I lived my whole life here. And then I was like, wow, the coastline is just unbelievable. In fact, forget the whole rest of Caithness. The coastline is where you should be telling. If anyone comes up here, you're saying walk along the coastline because it's absolutely spectacular. You know? But a Caithness Sea Coast tour, they put you on the speedboat and they take you around the coastline.
I've never been
on that. So then you get to see it from a different angle from below. You know. And then they take you to, obviously, you get to see Duncan Space Stacks and you get to see the Needle Eye Rock, which is a unsignposted, and I'll probably get in trouble for talking about it because the people in that area at Sarclett don't want it to turn into a kind of tourist trap, you know? Because there isn't infrastructure, there isn't signage, there isn't car parks. People end up parking in people's driveways with their camper vans and just causing... But basically, this Needle Eye Rock is the tallest sea arch in the UK. You know, it's massive. You could upend 2 double-decker buses, and it still wouldn't touch the top of it. It's absolutely huge. You know, this is what we got on our doorstep. And we're not doing anything about it. You know,
is there no I don't know if it's in John O'Groats. Is there no writing what's on a rock? What it's Spanish writing?
That's right. Yeah. When the tide goes out, you know, I got blamed for that because I obviously do a bit of stone carving. So someone's like, oh, was that you? I'm like, that's someone that's actually good at it. you can read that. You know, my stone carving looks at your handwriting.
That's it, man. It's same goes. What's the other one? Is it's near Kisa, and it was Vikings.
That's right.
Viking writing on some. I think on the ground or somewhere.
I should know it. What was
it's called the Hidden Beach. Well, that's nicknamed the Hidden Beach. But what is it?
Hidden Beach is a Sanic where the writing is, because that's carved and it's in Spanish, but it's in readable letters, you know. And then the other one that you're on about
what's that rock? Is it Rockhead or Rock Hill?
Rock Hill.
And you go down the bottom, and then there's well, I don't know. I got told my granny it was Viking writing there, but.
Right. I'll have a look. I've seen another one. I've seen another one when the tide goes out. I went into that one at Sanic Bay. That's you go to Duncan Space Stacks, but you go down and that wee beach here. That's where that one is. You know.
Okay. Right.
I should go and do my own one.
You should.
Doctor knowledge. When the tide is, I don't know when the tide's in. Yeah. So landscape. What else have we got here? Flow country. So we've now got a UNESCO World Heritage Site in Caithness.
Okay.
And that's massive, you know. That's like up there with the Colosseum and Amazon rainforest, you know. This is a pretty big deal, you know.
Right.
But it's only recently been recognised as a World Heritage Site because obviously the Flow Country is the biggest carbon sink in the world, you know. So if the Flow Country lost all its carbon, it would cause an ice age, you know. Yeah. This is pretty significant. This is most of the carbon in the world locked in the soil in the middle of Caithness.
Jesus,
It's mental, but so we should be proud of this UNESCO World Heritage Site, But at the same time, prior to it getting recognised as a UNESCO World Heritage Site, I have to ask anyone: have you ever been out in the middle of the flow country? And everyone's like, "Oh, no."
This is the first time I heard about it.
You can't be that proud of the flow country landscape if you never even bothered to go into it, But to be fair, the 40-mile bogs are a pretty difficult thing to go and see, isn't it? It's like, oh, last your welly boots on and walk into the middle of the wet desert, There's nothing here for 40 miles, So it make you feel a bit this big, But no doubt when something becomes a World Heritage Site, then people are going to be travelling from all over the place to go, oh, well, there's a World Heritage Site here, let's go and see it. How do we interact with that, And that's something that it will become more of a cultural identifier as time goes on, Right. So you can see yourself in 20 years' time introducing yourself, I'm from Caithness, where the World Heritage Site is, But at the moment, because it's so brand new, it's not really not really that culturally significant yet, Although it's environmentally significant, we need to think of a way of a community to be more proud of the bog, And certainly in the world of changing environments and climate change and biodiversity loss, this is becoming a far more pertinent issue than it ever has been before,
Is that how you kind of cut peat anymore? Because it's
pretty
stuff
much.
like
They
that.
take peat out of fertilizer. The crofters can still cut peat. But it's funny because as you're driving across the Cassimire, you get to like Spittle, and that's where they built the wind farms, and everyone's like, we're already caught in controversy in this chat here because we're just slagging the death at everyone about Caithness. But obviously, wind farms are a very divisive issue right now in the county, And I'm not a wind farm fanboy, but I accept that this is the reality that is happening here, whether we like it or not. You can complain till the sun goes down, but the wind farms are here anyway, But they're always like, oh, it's destroying the environment, But the place that wind farms are built on the Cassimire there, most of that is an exhausted peat bank where they cut all the peat away, So it's like you're not building a wind farm on anything other than an empty mine where you've already cut all this stuff away, But back in the 50s, they were going to build a power plant that was fired on peat, So thank fuck that didn't work, because if it did,
that'd be a
they
waste.
they would have cut, the power plant running on peat. You'd be like, get it all chopped up, and burn it, and that was the biggest carbon sink in the world. So imagine what we would have just taken all the stored carbon and went,
yep,
off that in the air, keep your lights on,
That's mental.
So it's just as well, when we're talking about, about it destroying the environment, it's like, man, we just dodged a bullet that would have been probably one of the biggest environmental disasters that could have happened. You took all the locked up carbon and burnt it,
Jesus,
So that's what that area is really, That's why you look at it and it just looks kind of. When I was growing up, there was big dirty hills. I always remember coming into Caithness, and my mum was from East Kilbride, just outside Glasgow, and she would always be like, "Oh, it's so bleak here," and you'd be looking out the window and there would be just like nothing, and the whole ground all around you was black, and all there would be like just piles of peat. It's like something out of Lord of the Rings. It's just like, wow, this is where we live. At the end of the world, at the end of black fields.
Got black stone, black fields. I say, our little house, I got peat, little bits of peat, and I burn that in. It just smells like my granny's. It's nice. Yeah.
Where was your granny?
She was an Ulster, I mean, it's like, I just got it for my birthday, and I was like, it's mine straight from my granny's house,
Whoever invented those little house things, they were on the winner, right?
Oh, aye, like that.
They're cool,
The only thing about windmills, it's like, I don't know how, we always gurn about the rods. It's like, how does that company not put so much money back to Caithness?
This is probably one of my outside brocks and stone. The whole wind farm situation is probably something that I'm pretty interested in, and it is enemy number one, but we're at the point of we've been trying to resist wind farms and the impact of wind farms for 20 something years, and we've just lost every single battle. So at a certain point in fighting, you need to admit defeat at a certain point. We're not stopping this, So it's time, I would say, that everybody gets round to the fact that how many times are you going to keep losing a fight before you realise that your strategy is not working? So looking at the wind farms, and they're accepting the reality that they're going to come no matter what we do, how many times you complain, how many councillors you get behind it, it's going to happen, So it's time to start recognising that, accepting it, and putting our energy into trying to steer the outcomes of it instead of trying to put our energy into resisting it, because after 20 years of resisting it, we've got nothing. So it's true that they are wrecking the roads. And every time that wind turbine spins round, there's money for the local community to spend on things like if we want to have a recording studio or if we want to build a broch to
even this road,
well, basically, most people will say, Iain, I don't give a fuck about brochs, so I don't care about whether you build a broch or not, or put on gigs or whatever. Most people just want to see the roads fixed, you know? So I don't want to get stuck too deep into this one, but there was a wind farm down in Lairg, and the community had said, if you build this wind farm, will you please repair that road, you know? So the wind farm's like, yeah, we will, you know? But the wind farm companies don't have tar machines and the rest of it. All that belongs to the council or a private contractor. So the wind farm said, well, what we will do is we will take the value of that, fixing that road, let's just say £100,000, and we'll give that to Highland Council. And the Highland Council will then fix that road. So that's what they did. They took £100,000 and they gave it to Highland Council and they said, you fix that road. And what happened then was that just goes into a bank account and goes,
well, it's a bit like
it just disappeared. It wasn't ring fenced or whatever, and they never followed it up. So the wind farm company did do exactly what that community said. The community didn't get what it wanted because there wasn't enough follow through either from the community to hold them to what they'd asked for, or from the council to actually listen to what the community had said that money was for. You know? So, and this is the part that we need to play as individuals in the community. If you're pissed off with what you're seeing, then start making demands about how you want it to be, you know? Because it's easy to go online and say, I don't agree with any of this shit. I don't agree with it either. But I do know that if you want anything what we're saying here to change, whether it's cultural identity or it's your roads getting fixed, as a community, you've got a duty or responsibility to follow through on that. If you want the roads fixed, let's all get a placard and march outside the wind farm and say, fix the fucking road. And then when they do put your money towards it, hold your councillors accountable to get that money to make sure your road gets fixed. What's happening is it's too easy to go online and complain, and then you've done your complaining and fuck off and eat your dinner, and then it's gone. You know, you need to follow through with this shit. You know, you need to make sure that it's actually going to be what happens. So somebody else gave us a talk in a room full of people, and half the people who were presenting there were anti-wind farm to say, stop this from happening, and I was there to present and say, this is going to happen anyway, so let's try and steer it towards something that's beneficial, you know. And I pretty much got shouted down and wasn't even able to finish what I was saying. But basically what I was saying was that there's going to be massive changes come to this community. Everywhere you look is about to be a building site. We have a window of opportunity to steer those benefits to something that we want, you know, whether that be roads. And everybody shouted me down, going, we already pay taxpayers money for that, so why should we take the money that's being generated for the community and spend it on roads? Well, if everyone in that room wants roads to get fixed, then that is what the community wants. Just spend it on that, you know. But because everyone's so pissed off about the wind farm situation, they just shouted me down and never really got to get my point across, you know. So you can have, there's £2 billion worth of investment coming to the county, and like a percentage of that will come to whatever it is that we choose what we want it to go towards as a community benefit. What needs to happen now is the community needs to decide what it is it wants, because you pretty much, the money's coming down the line here to have anything it is that we want. But what we're missing is a cohesive idea of what it is that we want. You know?
But I thought like the Highland Council, like all the money goes to Inverness. It spreads out. Instead of just having it for Caithness.
Pretty much. Well,
or like, you know, like money
certain budgets. So like £53 million is what's going on to the roads right now, which is an unprecedented amount that's going on to the roads, like, you know. And then that's the road budget for the Highland region. And then that gets separated out into Caithness and all the rest of it, you know. And some roads are harder to fix than others. So a road in Inverness that's 4 lanes wide is harder to fix than what's in Caithness. But the problem we've got in Caithness is we've got absolutely loads of roads. We're a farming community, so there's roads crisscrossing the county everywhere, but we've only got a population of 25,000. So sometimes the money is spent on based on population rather than based on mileage of roads, you know. So it's like, 25,000 people in Inverness just makes up like a quarter of the city or whatever, you know. But 25,000 people in Caithness is a whole population. But look at the mileage of roads that we have in comparison, you know. So it's how it's divvied up, basically, you know. Not that I'm a defender of the Highland Council or the way it's done, but it's about understanding how budgets are put out there, you know. And that's really for local councillors to make that clear to people, you know, how that is. And then for other representatives, whether it's the wind farm people or not, to say, look, this money could be spent on roads and shit like that. If that's what's important to people, you know.
Or like even just like take a price to like renting at shops.
The rates, that's what I would say as well, you know. I mean, at the moment, my focus is culture, like brochs and shit like that. Because I think we need a a cultural identifier. I mean, that's the whole point of what I'm talking about here.
Of course,
we lack
yeah.
them, you know.
Yeah.
So it'd be cool to have a cultural identifier, but at the same time, I don't want everyone to think that Maclean's just made this up so he can nick all this money and build a fucking broch, you know. There's loads of other shit that needs to be done as well, but it takes some other champion, like Iain Gregory, and honest, he does Caithness Roads Recovery. He points out where there's a pothole. I mean, some of it, he might as well pick a fishing rod out and start fishing it. It's massive, and it requires someone like him to go out there and actually say, look, this is getting dangerous, you know. You're going to burst your tyre in there and end up in oncoming traffic. He outlines where the problems are, and pretty much the council end up running away. Because he's put it on Facebook and there's uproar, next couple of days they're dealing with it, you know.
That's quite good to get somebody like that to post it up.
You need a poster child for these things, you know. You need a cheerleader to say, look, that's the fucking state, sort it out. And good on Iain Gregory, he goes out there and does it, and that's what gets bits and bobs fixed, you know. It's easy to slag the council, you know. I mean, they're just like punch bags for slagging, you know. It's always been seen as a lazy job. There's fucking 6 of them around the hole and only one of them digging, you know. And they said they had this pothole killer, you know. It was like a machine that comes in and kills potholes. So we've got this pothole killer, you know, a minute, and it's just modern bureaucracy. We don't have the people trained to run this machine, so it's like you bought a fucking machine for £2 million that kills potholes, but you can't kill any potholes because you don't have anyone to drive it. It's just, this is the world we're living in now, you know. If it was India or somewhere else with less rules, it would be like, get in the machine,
just try it,
fucking get it done. You know? But here we're like, oh my god, I don't have a bit of paper to say that I can push that button. So you know, bureaucracy is killing the system as much as anything else. You know, someone had a bright idea, buy the pothole machine, you know, but the system itself wasn't in place to make it happen. You know?
All right.
Yeah. Wow, potholes and brochs. Never mind calling this talk a cultural black hole. It's a fucking pothole.
Touched on a subject there for ages, like that.
Yeah, well, we got our the Flow Country, yes, the Thursday East surfing. You know, so I have introduced myself by where are you from, Caithness? What do you do up there? It's got the best surf break in Europe. You know, I remember when we were growing up. I don't know if he's did this in Wick, but there was surfers and they were surfing off out there, but they didn't want any kids out there, you know. There wasn't a surf club to join to get into it, you know. And there was a bunch of older guys, and they're like, we're not going to be hanging about with 10-year-olds, you know. But we wanted to surf. We thought it was cool, like, you know. So we'd got wetsuits and bodyboards and fuck around at the beach for a while and bodyboard on the little wee waves, and then we would go to the harbour and just jump in the harbour. You know, and that was our thing, was the back flipping and front flipping off the harbour, you know.
Yeah, we did that.
That was more of a cultural thing growing up than the surfing was, you know. But I think it's because there wasn't a pathway to get into surfing, you know, and it was a dangerous thing. Nobody wanted a bunch of 10-year-olds just to go out in the biggest surf in Europe and end up having to save them, you know, because that's what the reality would have been.
Yeah, it would have been mental.
In the last 10 years, the Caithness or Thurso Surf Club have built facilities and they've got training on to get youth into it. I mean, that's just, it's what happens everywhere else. It's what happens with football. It's what happens with music. You need the people who are doing it to spend the time to get the young team into it, you know. And I've absolutely no doubt in the next few years you're going to see champion surfers coming out because we have the facilities. We have it here to do. We just needed to have a generation where we trained them into it. You know?
It's just mental because it's just like you say, it's one of the biggest surfing places in Britain. Like, and then but there's nobody from, I can't think of anybody from Caithness who's a surfer. There probably are surfers.
There's a lot on the Thursday side. Like Mark Boyd, Scott Main. Most of the surfers that are here come up from the Broch. They come up from Fraserburgh. They come surfing, you know. I remember I was at a party and I heard the door knock and so I went to answer the door and there's Scott Main and Chris Noble. I must have been about 16 and they must have been about 20 or something. You're like, fit like new, mate. The fuck? Because that guy just said, like, they're just come up here and heard music on at the house, so just knocked on the door. That's what you do, you know. And then next thing you know, us guys stayed up here for basically bought a house and started a family here, you know.
No, I know.
Scott Main surf for Scotland and Hawaii, you know.
Really?
You know, so it is a cultural thing, and they're very take ownership of the wave, you know. Thursday East has got a particular surfing culture where it's like everybody wait your turn, you know. It's not like elsewhere they surf and they just drop in front of each other and everything. Whereas at Thursday East there's a lineup and you wait your turn, you know. So there's a kind of etiquette and fairness to how they go about it, you know. That's a cool cultural thing, like, you know.
I mean, I had a mate down the road, and his uncle used to surf it, and that was one thing he did say. First was amazing for surfing.
It's amazing,
because he got sponsored by what is it, Quicksilver?
Right, yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
He did, like mine.